All right, thank you for that, Chris. Running a red light with kids on board. An Albuquerque parent says he couldn't believe his eyes when he says he saw a school bus driver break the law. News 13's Madeline Schmidt spoke with the parent, APS, and police to look into it.
I was shocked, very upset about it.
Richard Adams was on his way back from the state fair when he saw this happen right in front of him. A school bus running a red light at Wyoming and Comanche.
Oh, that school bus so ran a red light.
A self-proclaimed gadget guy, but more importantly parent, caught the illegal act on his dashboard camera and uploaded it to YouTube. The bus was turning right, leaving westbound Comanche to head northbound on Wyoming.
Two buses went through, and then our light turned green, which means the Comanche light turned red, blatantly running the red light.
Adams says it was bus number 194. APS couldn't tell us which school it came from, but the incident happened about 10 minutes after 3 p.m. Nearby Madison Middle and Sombra del Monte Elementary both let out on Fridays right around 3. And Adams says there were kids on the bus.
You put your children on a bus and you expect the bus driver to follow the law and be safe, and you trust your child's safety to the bus driver.
APS says if a citizen sees a school bus driver break the law, they should call Albuquerque police. But Adams doesn't believe that will do much good and that something needs to happen quickly.
That person should absolutely be fired. He shouldn't be entrusted with our children. Something needs to be done. Bus drivers can't continue to do this.
Madeline Schmidt, KRQE News 13.
Police say an officer can only issue a traffic citation if that officer witnesses the violation. Police actually suggested something APS did not, which was to call the bus company and report the bad driver. APS says it will be looking into the incident when school resumes on Monday. I-40 eastbound near Gallup back open this morning after it had been shut down because of this truck fire yesterday. This is video sent in to us by one of our viewers, Jacob Morris. Vehicles being detoured because of those fierce flames. State police have not yet said if there were any injuries. A Farmington police officer is on administrative leave this morning after he was accused of incest. San Juan Sheriff's deputies say 26-year-old Richard Emmert is accused of sexually assaulting two of his relatives. Officials say the alleged incidents took place, though, before he was a police officer. Emmert was arrested on Friday. New Mexico State Police are explaining why a flag flying over their police station was late to be lowered. This picture shows the American flag at the Espanola State Police Station. It was at full staff on Friday. The problem, the president ordered all flags to be flown at half staff. That's because of the 9/11 anniversary. State police spokesperson says officers there were very busy with calls for service, and when they were told about the problem, they immediately fixed it. State representative admits he failed to report thousands of dollars in contributions in his re-election campaign last year. The Journal says Albuquerque Democrat Antonio Maestas missed more than $11,000. He sent a letter to Diana Duran saying the error was on his part and said it won't happen again. Duran herself currently being charged by the Attorney General for allegedly using campaign contributions at casinos. Video out of Hungary this morning causing outrage after authorities there were seen throwing food at refugees and migrants. The video was captured back on the 8th when chaos broke out at a food bank. About 300 people are seen desperately trying to catch plastic bags, packed sausage rolls, also bottled water. It's being thrown by police wearing surgical masks. Human rights groups are criticizing what's seen in the video and the conditions the migrants are being kept in. Man who tried to kidnap a woman off the street is set to be sentenced. The video you're seeing right now shows 38-year-old Delvin Barnes kidnapping the victim. This was in Philadelphia in November of last year. You may remember this. Barnes says he was desperate, that he ran out of money. He says he was trying to get to Virginia to see his daughter one last time before turning himself into authorities. He had a prior rape and kidnapping charge 1 month before abducting the woman in Philadelphia. He entered a guilty plea on Friday. He now faces 35 years behind bars. Former tennis star James Blake says his mistaken arrest by a New York City police officer at a Manhattan hotel has prompted apologies from the mayor and the police commissioner. Blake says the public would be better served if the apologies by Police Commissioner William Bratton and Mayor Bill de Blasio were directed toward other people he says who have been subjected to police brutality. Video surveillance released by the NYPD shows a plainclothes police officer grabbing Blake by the arm and then tackling him down to the ground.
I don't think there's much of a gray area. I don't think this person should ever have a badge or a gun again.
That officer has a history of excessive force complaints, 4 of which were in a 7-month period in 2013. Police in Colorado stopped a bank robbery suspect just minutes after a holdup. Broomfield police say on Friday an officer saw the suspect's getaway vehicle right after the robbery. The officer went after him, and eyewitnesses say the suspect abruptly stopped his truck. That's when officials say the man started shooting at the officer. The officer fired back, hitting the suspect, who was later hospitalized. His condition at this hour still unclear. Good news, the police officer was not hurt. All right, thank you for that, Chris. A controversial art show has made its way to UNM's campus. It's a series of exhibits meant to shine a light on police brutality and gun violence. News 13's Candace Hopkins has a look at this show that is turning heads.
It's called Necessary Force, Art in the Police State. Portraits of events from the civil rights era to today. An overturned police cruiser broadcasting scanner chatter from unrest in places like Ferguson.
Hospital with a victim that had his head almost severed.
And seemingly ordinary objects with deeper meaning. All things that address life in a society the curators say is increasingly policed.
So art invites you to have a very different experience. So it asks you to slow down, think about the issues.
Like this exhibit called Phantom Negro Weapons. It features objects like the packet of Skittles Trayvon Martin was carrying the night he was shot, or a belt. Each item was mistaken for a weapon before the person holding it was shot.
Artists in this show are mostly contemporary artists who are responding to current events. All the same types of events that we all have been looking at on the news.
The artists are from both the U.S. and abroad and from different generations, providing a wide range of perspectives. Curators say while the exhibit may come off to some as anti-police, they emphasize that's not the intent.
This is a show that is anti-police brutality, it's anti-gun violence that happens all around our society, not just in relationship to law enforcement.
Visitors say the show forces people to confront tough issues.
I think that the news makes us think about these things, and like I said before, perhaps you try to walk away from it, but this creates other ways to think about it.
These kinds of conversations are especially critical for all of us, but particularly those of us that live in Albuquerque. We understand the role that state violence plays for many of us in our daily lives.
Candace Hopkins, KRQE News 13.
UNM officials say this exhibit does not represent any opinion held by the university, but that controversial topics are welcome on campus because it prides itself on being a place where students and the community can examine these types of issues, they say. And if you would like to check out that exhibit for yourself, it will be open at the UNM Art Museum through December 12th. Dozens of people gathering this weekend to show their support for police. They were carrying signs and they were dressed in blue. A drone could take an aerial picture of them. That was the goal here. It's part of the national hashtag #WeSeeYou campaign in support of law enforcement all across the country. One police officer's wife tells us a gesture like this is big for the men and women in blue.
It means a lot to them. In words, they're powerful. And saying a thank you is priceless to many of them today.
Chief Eden was one of the many who showed up for the event in Albuquerque yesterday. One of the men accused of stealing from an APD squad car had a bizarre excuse for the judge. Brandon Patino Chavez and Yadir Solorzano are accused of taking a police officer's backpack while he was chasing down a fleeing suspect who was in a stolen car. Both men were in court yesterday. Patino Chavez tried to tell the judge he wasn't guilty because nobody, he said, would be dumb enough to commit such a crime.
Into our cop car, so what do you think would be something? You think somebody would do something that dumb to bring in a cop car?
Well, I've been around a long time. You'd be amazed at what I've seen happen. And so you don't want my opinion as to what I think somebody might or might not do, because you're probably not going to like the answer.
Both men already have other pending misdemeanor cases. Meanwhile, the man officers were chasing in the first place, Rufus Phelps, told the judge, well, he told the judge he didn't know he was driving a stolen car. Family of a man killed in a drunken DWI crash held a memorial this weekend. 23-year-old Andrew Rael was killed last month near the Sandia Casino. He and two of his friends were asked to leave. On the way home, police say the driver, 21-year-old Anselmo Diaz, was drunk, hit a pole, and then flipped the car. Diaz and another passenger escaped with minor injuries. He is being charged with DWI. Take a look at these flames. A massive wildfire in Northern California burning out of control this morning. So far, 4 firefighters have been sent to the hospital after fighting all of these big blazes. This fire began Saturday afternoon. It quickly spread to 15 square miles in just a few hours. 86 homes have been destroyed. Hundreds have been forced to flee their homes. A woman in Kansas is facing charges after authorities say her 2 children were found living in a shipping crate in a cave. Deputies say they were investigating illegal activity in the caves there when they found a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. They were alone, barefoot, dirty, inside a wooden crate. They had no water. Police say they only had a cup of dry ramen to eat. The people who own the property where those kids were found say they are shocked.
Quite naturally, I was horrified. I never expected to hear anything like that at all, you know. I just came here to check on the storage space, and I saw you guys here. I just found out about that, so, I mean, I'd be just as any person would. I'm horrified to hear that.
It's not clear exactly why the kids were forced to live in that cave, but police were able to find their mother. She was 24 years old. She now faces 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. Subway says it has completed an extensive review. They went through more than 1 million customer comments about this former pitchman, Jared Fogle. Sandwich Company says they had only 1 serious complaint made about him. They're not saying what the complaint was. However, they say it wasn't criminal. Last month, Fogle pleaded guilty to child pornography charges, also crossing state lines to pay for sex with a minor. A small plane assigned to the crew of a movie starring Tom Cruise has crashed in the Andes, killing 2 people, also injuring a third. It was a twin-engine plane. It took off from a colonial town in Colombia Friday night, ran into bad weather. The American Alan Perwin and Colombian Carlos Burrell were both killed in the crash. Perwin was the founder and president of a Los Angeles-based company that provides aerial surveillance technology to law enforcement. His film credits included Transformers, Pearl Harbor, and Pirates of the Caribbean.